how to manage bipolar disorder. I guarantee you that if you do these 5 things and put enough effort into learning and developing in these 5 areas, then you will be able to manage your illness. And I go into these things in depth within my book, Winning the War with Bipolar. But that being said, I'm going to provide you the information right now so that hopefully you can go in the right direction and start to learn to manage your illness. So the first thing you need to do is learn what bipolar disorder is. You need to know from your own personal perspective, and you need to know from the academic and the research perspective. So in terms of your own perspective, it's great to journal and jot down your feelings and your mood and how that ranges and how that changes over time. That, coupled with an awareness of what bipolar disorder is in terms of the clinical scene, in terms of learning what mania is, hypermania, mixed episodes, rapid cycling, all of these terms, depression, euthymia, periods of stability, are incredibly important to learn, because once you learn these things, you learn what bipolar disorder is and how can you battle anything in life unless you know what it is that you're fighting against. So that's very much the case with bipolar. So you need to build that awareness and build that understanding. And the fact of the matter is that there's so many resources, online teaching you what bipolar disorder is, and just consuming that content is a great start in the right direction. I also suggest to jot down and write a mood graph over time. So using, the journaling and the techniques that you've used to monitor your mood and the information that you've now learned from elsewhere, you can jot down your mood over time like this, as a wave, highs and lows. And essentially your goal with time, when you seek treatment, etc., is to try and reduce the length of those highs and lows and the severity, so that it becomes more equal and more stable. So that's the first point. Number 2 is that you need to learn how to make therapy work. So this is both cognitive behavioral type therapies and spoken therapies, as well as drug treatments. So you need to learn what is the therapies that I'm going to be seeking. And the most prominent therapy for bipolar disorder is CBT. So learning what CBT is going to be incredibly important, because imagine going into a maths classroom, like an A-level maths classroom or a degree level maths classroom. Even the smartest person in the world can go in if they didn't know how to add, subtract and divide. Like, even if they're the smartest person in the world, if they've never heard of those constructs and didn't know them, they wouldn't be able to make the most of that maths class. And it's the same thing with CBT. Like, understanding what CBT is and how it works is incredibly vital in terms of making sure that you actually make the most of it. Also, drug treatments. So you need to learn about antipsychotics, mood stabilizers, all of these different types of medications and the combinations of them that work. Why do they work? Learn all of these things. Ask people. If you've got a psychiatrist, ask them, okay, this medication that you're that you're prescribing me, maybe quetiapine, what are the side effects? What are the pros and cons? Like, what does it do? Learning this information and learning it either through direct contact or through looking online will help you massively in terms of building an awareness of how to get better. Step number 3 is to learn how to become your own psychologist. So you've got to essentially apply a lot of strategies that allow you to be able to manage your mental health and manage your bipolar disorder well. One of the most important that I'll just bring up here is sleep hygiene. You need to make sure that you're going to sleep and waking up at reasonable hours of the day, and just making sure that no matter when you sleep, that you dedicate a period of time to sleep. Like, I now make sure that I dedicate at least 8 hours, maybe even 10 hours to just rest. And even if I feel like I can't sleep, I feel hyper, I want to get up, I want to do other things, that time is dedicated to sleep and rest. And it's one of the main reasons why I am now well. Dedicating that time to sleep is allowing me to be able to stop that cycle of mania and depression. Other examples of how to become your own psychologist is making sure that you're eating right. There's a lot of the gut hypothesis, etc., in terms of bipolar disorder, and also in terms of making action plans. You know, when you realize that things in life are getting quite stressful, you know, it's very important to have action plans to be like, okay, how do I relax? Maybe I need to contact my therapist or my psychiatrist and learn how to manage this, and learn how to bring it all back in so that you don't relapse into episode. So yeah, there's a lot of different things within the whole be it your own psychologist sphere. And you know, there's loads of resources out there. In my book I describe this in depth within the 3rd section. But again, you can find a lot of this information online. You know, there's gratitude journals, there's, you know, sleep hygiene, all of these different topics. You can search them up, and there's so much useful information on the internet that will help you to be able to manage this. Number 4 is to learn to be consistent in your relapse prevention. So essentially what happens with a lot of people is that they have a period of stability over a period of time, and then they get confident and they say, I don't need medication anymore. I feel like I can do this, like I've beaten bipolar disorder. And that very thinking is one of the main reasons why people end up in the hospital, is one of the main reasons why people end up dying of this disorder so sadly, because people get confident and they get too confident and they think that they are now suddenly immune to this disorder. And the sad fact is that no matter how far you are on your journey, you always need to stay consistent and you always need to try. Like, for example, as I said before, I make sure that I devote that amount of time to sleep every single night, because I realize that if I don't, even though now, you know, I'm doing a PhD within this, I'm working in this, I've got a book in this, despite that, I could easily relapse. I could easily go back into episode if I didn't use the right strategies. And that's why I always consistently read up more. I make sure that I remember what is bipolar disorder. I make sure I use strategies that I've learned in therapy and I keep up with my drug regimen. And I make sure that I carry on being my own psychologist. And that consistency is really the most important thing. Well, really it's the second most important thing, because I want to finish off with point number 5, which is you need to invest in your mental health more than anything else in the whole world. And I'm not talking like financially here, but although that's a part of it. I mean, if you don't have a great psychiatrist or a therapist, even if you don't really have that much money at the moment, which I didn't have at the time, I made sure that I invested money in getting the right help. And I realized that, you know, even if that, you know, £50 every other week or so, you know, even if that's eating into something else, this is even more important, because my bipolar disorder meant that I wasn't able to work. I wasn't able to do things in life which would cause a long, happy life. It was causing, you know, both, inside internal pain, but also an external and financial instability. Bipolar is a horrible illness, and is one that, you know, shouldn't be trifled with, and it's one that, you know, needs a lot of effort and energy in. And, you know, as I said, you know, one of them is in terms of the physical, it's in terms of the financial, but it's also in terms of like the time and the effort. You know, sometimes with your bipolar disorder, you're going to feel like you've got high amounts of energy, and you're going to feel like, oh, I can just keep on going. I can not sleep tonight, or I'm going to just sleep a couple of hours tonight because, you know, I've got an amazing idea that I want to fulfill. But you have to just pull yourself back. And even though it's not fun to pull yourself back when you're excited. That's like the most boring thing ever. And, you know, I actually had to do it recently, and I didn't like it. But you have to do it. You have to realize, like, I'm getting a bit too hyper now. I need to pull myself back before this spirals out of control. And dedicating that time, you know, making sure that you're being consistent in that way is going to be the main reason why you're going to get better and you're going to get well. So again, you know, I hope that you found this very useful. On this channel, I'm going to be posting more content that's got more specific information based on the different criteria that I've got in there. But I think that if you've jotted these things down as notes and then found out different information from different locations, then you can definitely be able to learn how to manage bipolar disorder just through doing that. You know, if you want to have it in one single place, I very much recommend my book, because here I go through in depth the first 4 that I describe, and then the final point is sort of like a running theme throughout the book. And you know, this has got a lot of useful information on how to manage bipolar. But yeah, I think that, you know, I hope that you gain something from this and that it can help you on your journey. Make sure that you subscribe, hit the bell, like and comment on this video, as it was helped me very much to be able to help others and provide this content to the community. But I hope that you managed to get a grips with this bipolar disorder. Feel free to reach out, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.